This is a News Center 1 special report.
And good afternoon to you. I'm Eric Green. Governor Noem has just entered the legislative chamber of the state capitol, where she will deliver her State of the State address. This will be her fifth, the first of her second term. Now, according to her office, the theme of Noem's speech will be on building the American dream, stronger families, and discussing the state's growth, sharing initiatives with the lawmakers who are getting ready to begin their work in the legislative session, which will be coming up. Of course, the governor and other officers were inaugurated on Saturday, and this basically kicks off the legislation. What will she be, the legislative session, I should say. What will she talk about? Well, she'll probably be addressing the grocery tax. That was a big part of the campaign. And also, you're going to hear about TikTok and Communist China. Let's join the governor.
Constitutional officers and my fellow South Dakotans. The South Dakota State Constitution requires the governor to begin each legislative session by giving the legislature information concerning the affairs of the state and recommending the measures he considers necessary. Notice I didn't say she. The Constitution doesn't say she, and maybe we should fix that sometime. It's also the perfect time for me to come before you to let you know that I am a brand new grandmother. I have a new grandbaby. His name is Branch Brian. He is named after his grandfather. He was 8 pounds, 9 ounces. And I was thinking this morning about our family and how many challenges we go through, how many good times, and how I fail them at times. But yet Branch is a reminder that we have new beginnings, that we have hope for a future. And I hope that all of us can embrace that today for the year of 2023, that we can have a new beginning and a start where we can continue to work for the people of South Dakota and protect that promise of liberty and freedom. Now, South Dakota is growing and we're thriving. We are strong. Our state's agriculture industry is now a $32 billion industry. It's responsible for 1 in 5 jobs in our state. We need to continue to preserve agriculture's future. You know, tourism, financial services, and other industries are also growing as well. That's all great news. Today I'm going to share with you how our state has become the #1 state for individuals, for families, and businesses to build the American dream. Now, we've also promoted our state, and we've promoted stronger families, and we're also going to continue to secure South Dakota far into the future. We are #1 in the nation for personal income growth over the past several years. That is how South Dakotans build the American dream, by working hard and earning more than they have before. We have the fastest growth of housing developments in the entire country. We have the most family-owned businesses of any state. That's part of how we make families stronger. We have the most registered hunters per capita of any state as well, which is something I'm extremely proud of. And we were recognized as a state for making the best decisions by the American Legislative Exchange Council. One more thing. South Dakota State University Jackrabbits are the FCS national champions in football. Go Jacks! I understand the team's going to be with us next week, so that'll be a fun day to celebrate as well. I normally wait to honor our military until the end of this speech, but I wanted to highlight this now. We are the #1 state in a nation to live and to work as a soldier, an airman, and a veteran. That is how we make South Dakota safer and more secure for the future. Both our Army and our Air Guard units have led the nation. They're winning award after award for the best units in this country. Just this past month, we deployed the 109th Regional Support Group to the Middle East as part of Operation Inherent Resolve. But the National Guard stands ready right here at home, too. When the winter snow and bitter cold hit our state just before Christmas, the men and women in uniform took time away from their families in need across their state. They went and helped other communities and individuals who needed assistance to get through that bitter cold. They went to our reservations that asked for assistance and needed it as well. Would everyone who is here that is a veteran or serves in the National Guard please rise so you can be recognized and thanked by all of those here in attendance today? I believe South Dakota is the freest state in the nation. We fight to defend our constitutional rights. We ensure that every South Dakotan has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But here's what I love about South Dakota. We never settle. We never sit back and say, that's good enough. We turn challenges into opportunities. Together, I want us all to take on the challenge of making South Dakota #1 in growth, tax climate, work ethic, and building and supporting strong families. Our nation was built on freedom, but our constitutional freedoms are under assault from Washington, D.C. America needs South Dakota's example of how conservative policies and values make people's lives better. These policies bring success and they bring hope. In the last 4 years, we made South Dakota the strongest state in America by making it the state to pursue an American dream. A state for stronger families, and a secure state. In the next 4, we're going to prove that the best is yet to come. Now, together, we have to continue to build and to advance that American dream. And in this legislative session, we will accomplish that. We're going to accomplish it by cutting taxes for people. We continue to have record surpluses, and what should we do with those surpluses? My answer is simple. Cut taxes and provide relief for South Dakotans. Now, I've been to a lot of grocery stores over the state for the last many months. Prices have dramatically increased for the past 2 years that families weren't prepared for. And when they see the final bill at the end of the checkout line, they're astonished. When I was standing there at dozens of grocery stores running the checkout line, talking to people, about 1 out of every 4 shoppers had to go put something back on the shelf because they didn't have enough money to pay for it. It was shocking. Folks, listen. South Dakotans need this relief. And it's not up to us to pick and choose how they use their extra dollars that are in their pocket. By cutting the sales tax, we will help every single family in this state. And then they have the freedom to decide how to use those dollars to meet their needs in their family. And again, isn't South Dakota all about embracing freedom and helping every single person, not just picking winners and losers? Now, Fair Market is a store in Sioux Falls. It provides a special service to those who need it. They offer groceries for about half the price that you see in a typical grocery store. Kristen Johnson recognized the need for affordable groceries in her community, so she opened up Fair Market in early 2021. She's had to relocate. She's expanded multiple times as demand grew, and just last month, they opened a second location on the west side of Sioux Falls. When I visited their store, I met customers who were so grateful for the opportunity that Fair Market provides. Because many of their groceries are reclaimed, that means that they've had a branding change. Maybe it's a damaged can, maybe it's a seasonal good, or maybe it's because there's a market surplus. But because they are reclaimed, there's always something new and unique and more affordable for customers. Many of these customers enjoy looking in the store, hunting for unique finds. Now, Kristen, with her husband Greg, and Danelle, who works for them, are here today. Would you all please stand where you are? They're right over here. Thank you for all that you do for the people right here in South Dakota. Fair Market's customers will greatly benefit from the elimination of the sales tax on groceries, but so will every single South Dakota family, every person, every small business owner, even every homeowner. Our economy is the strongest it's ever been. Our revenues continue to grow. December revenues have us up another $10 million above legislative adopted estimates. Now is the time. Let's get this done. South Dakota's economy has been thriving over the past few years, but with that, we've experienced some growing pains. In 2022, our unemployment rate was the lowest that it's been in our state's history, but we still have 23,000 open jobs in our state. During my first year in office, I signed legislation that recognized occupational licenses for military spouses who moved to our state. Then 2 years ago, in response to the challenge of filling healthcare jobs, I proposed legislation to recognize the healthcare licenses of folks moving here from all other states. Thank you for the help with that. That legislation expanded to other professions, and it helped us fill many jobs here. We have an opportunity to finish the job this legislative session, to provide a path to recognize licenses of just about every single profession in this state. When other states have done this, they have seen their workforces grow almost immediately. Arizona's workforce has grown by about 5,000 workers since their law was implemented. Thousands more in the future to come as well. That's the kind of drastic workforce boost that we need right here in South Dakota. We are constantly looking for opportunities to expand registered apprenticeship programs here in our state. And just last month, the Department of Labor and Regulation awarded 4 grants to create apprenticeship pipelines for high schoolers across the state. The 4 recipients of these grants were Bear Butte Gardens for agriculture, Belfouche School District for healthcare, Harrisburg School District for agriculture, and Dakota State University for education. Later this week, they'll announce even more awards. More and more businesses are realizing the value of these apprenticeship programs. I want to highlight Lemonade Butcher Shop in Lemon, South Dakota, which was incorporated an apprenticeship program to hire and to train new staff. They initially hired one employee named Jesse, who is now supervising more people that are going through that program. That allowed the owner this year, for the very first time, to take his first vacation. Now that's making the American dream come true. Howe Incorporated in Sioux Falls has used apprenticeships to build their workforce for decades. When they gave me a tour of their apprenticeship program, it was so impressive. It was incredible. They already provide apprenticeships in plumbing, fire protection, HVAC sheet metal, and they recently worked with the Department of Labor and Regulation to add a mechatronics apprentice program. And they're currently in the process of setting up another program for sprinkler filters. Now, over the years, Howe has used their apprenticeship program to hire more than 60 employees. It's been a total game changer for them and for their workforce. Other companies can seize this opportunity as well. I want South Dakota businesses to continue to start apprenticeship programs. If you are interested in launching one at your business, please reach out to our Department of Health and Labor. Reach out to us. And stay tuned for more news later this year about expanding these apprenticeship programs throughout the entire state. South Dakota is going to continue to attract the careers of the future and address our workforce challenges. In the last year, you worked with me to expand Dakota State University's cyber research capabilities. It's going to bring 500 six-figure jobs to Sioux Falls. Now, more importantly, it's going to give our kids and our grandkids another reason to pursue the career of their dreams, right here in South Dakota. I promised to bring the next big industry to our state with you, and this is it. In the last year, we also broke ground on the largest economic development project in our state's history. GEVO's Net Zero 1 site in Lake Preston is the first ever billion-dollar investment in South Dakota. They will literally turn corn into jet fuel, as impossible as that sounds. But what What we're doing in South Dakota is reverberating across this country and around the world. We would be growing even more if there wasn't federal mandates preventing companies from coming here. President Biden just extended those mandates last week. We're in touch with a company in Canada that wants to move their business to the Black Hills. I can't share a lot of details with you yet, but we're very excited about this company. They are currently buying property that they haven't even seen in person. And this family and their business have suffered due to the COVID restrictions and vaccine mandates in Canada. Their daughter was even expelled from her university for refusing the vaccine. They are ready to gain back their freedoms. They want to grow their business and improve their quality of life right here in our state. The Biden administration's vaccine mandates are standing in their way. We are going to help them, and we're going to help them start a new beginning right here in South Dakota and embrace their freedom again. And we aren't just bringing new businesses to South Dakota. Our existing businesses are growing and they're thriving. Valley Queen and Millbank broke ground this year on a $200 million expansion that will create an additional 140 jobs for that community. South Dakota's total milk production has risen 11% in the last year. That's going to continue to increase once this facility is completed. The Governor's Office of Economic Development has facilitated $1.7 billion in new economic investments in South Dakota over the last year. That has created 2,400 new jobs. In fact, in my first term, we delivered more economic investment in South Dakota than the previous 10 years combined. That's the kind of success that you only see in a state where government is limited, where personal responsibility is central to everything and the private sector is unleashed. Now remember, we were the only state to reject the additional elevated unemployment benefits that were offered by the federal government. Our people kept working, our unemployment rate remained low, our economy remained strong, and new businesses, they moved here. Now we have a very healthy unemployment trust fund balance, which gives us the opportunity to cut the unemployment tax for businesses. My Department of Labor will be bringing a bill to revise employer contribution rates to the unemployment trust fund. This will bring an estimated $18 million savings to South Dakota businesses over the next couple of years. We're continuing to break records for tourism. It's no secret that folks have been visiting South Dakota by the millions, and that many of them first heard about us during the pandemic. In 2020, we broke the record for the most visitors to South Dakota state parks. In 2021, we shattered that record and broke the record for visitor spending as well. Now, we don't have the final data yet, but it looks like South Dakota set another record for visitor spending in 2022. Our airport arrivals increased by about 10% over last year, and even with nationwide inflation and increases in gas prices, visitors continued to choose South Dakota. Our economy is reaping the benefits, and in fact, tourism revenue, it decreases the tax burden by $1,000 per South Dakota family. The tourism industry also supports 57,000 jobs in our state. This year, the Department of Tourism will launch a dedicated Native American tourism marketing campaign. Beginning in 2023, bus tours will begin bringing domestic and international visitors to Pine Ridge, to Rosebud, Standing Rock, and Milks Camp. We will continue to emphasize telling tribal stories. They are a key part of our state's rich history and heritage. I'm excited to share that with the world. People who visit South Dakota, they also come here to hunt and to fish. Access to hunting opportunities has never been greater. Since I took office, more than 50,000 private acres have become available for public hunting above and beyond when I was in office. 15,000 new habitat acres have been added to promote strong wildlife numbers. Momentum continues to build, and our most recent pheasant harvest shows more total birds and birds per hunter than the 5-year average. And in 2022, we set a record for the most non-resident fishing licenses sold. Every year, more and more South Dakota youth are participating in our Nest Predator Bounty program. Youth participants jumped up to 32% of the total program participants this year. These kids are discovering a passion for being outdoors and enjoying spending time with family and friends. When tourists, when hunters and fishermen come to South Dakota, they're not just pursuing big game wildlife or the catch of a lifetime. They are literally pursuing happiness, a break from their day-to-day lives, moments with their families and the excitement of new adventures in the great outdoors. They are choosing South Dakota, and visiting us creates memories that will last a lifetime. We will continue to work together to build stronger families in South Dakota. 3 years ago, we worked to pass legislation to provide paid family leave to state employees. This gave families the opportunity to bond with a newborn and adopted children. It also put us in a better position to attract top talent to our state government. This year, I want to expand that opportunity. Currently, the state provides paid family leave benefits at 60% of an employee's salary for 8 weeks. I'm proposing that we extend that benefit to 100% of salary for 12 weeks. And this new paid family leave policy won't just cover new births or adoption. It's also going to cover taking care of a child, a spouse, a parent with a serious health condition, or a situation where a spouse is called to active duty military service. This will be a tremendous opportunity to provide a benefit for our state employees. But it's not going to stop there. Private sector companies will also have the opportunity to be a part of the state's risk pool as well. This will make it much cheaper for companies here to offer benefits to their employees. And the more people that buy in, the lower the cost will be for everyone. My budget provides $20 million in grants to incentivize the private sector companies to participate for the first few years. My budget also proposes $1.1 million to help give pregnancy and postpartum care for moms who are Medicaid recipients. Pregnant moms who are at risk of poor birth and health conditions will receive coverage and receive intensive care management. This will help moms have a healthy pregnancy, and this care will extend after birth. Moms who are involved in this program have babies who are less likely to be admitted to the NICU. And after birth, these moms will be able to join the Bright Start program, which you all helped provide funding for last year. This proves our commitment to helping moms and families through whatever situation that they may face. We are going to help them and their babies both before birth and after. And we're also going to help families who adopt children who need a loving home. During my time as governor, I've emphasized adoption as an area where we can improve as a state. And my life.sd.gov website helps those families find resources that can help, whether they're adopting or whether they're giving up a child for adoption. I'm also recommending this year that we give $25,000 up to $25,000 per state employees to cover the cost of adopting a child domestically. Today, we have several state employees who are here with us today who have opened up their homes and adopted children. Would you all please stand and be recognized as well? We all should be able to agree that children deserve to have a permanent, loving home. And I want to thank all of you for opening up your homes to these children and for loving them and making them a part of your family. This is something that's incredibly important, and I hope we all can do together. Now, another way that we can help kids grow up in a loving home is foster care. 2 years ago, I launched the Stronger Families Together initiative. Before this initiative, we were recruiting fewer than 200 families every single year. Now we're recruiting over 300 foster families per year to help. We met our target in year 1, and our recruitment contacts are up for year 2. But our foster children still face educational challenges as a result of their circumstances. Today I'm announcing the Stronger Families Scholarship Proposal, which I am hoping to work with all of you to provide new education opportunities for these children. Any child in the foster care system will have the opportunity to receive up to $4,000 in a scholarship to help them achieve their full potential, from kindergarten through 12th grade. This money can be used to pay for tuition at a private school, pay for tutoring or teaching services, purchase curriculum, pay for standardized tests or AP exams, and more help. There's always more that we can do, and today there are more than 100 businesses across the state that provide targeted discounts to help foster families and those children. I love that. I love that they're helping these families save dollars so they can open their homes up to more children. I'd like to challenge more businesses in the state to do that as well. I know that one of the biggest challenges that families in South Dakota face today is also access to childcare. Families might have to go on a wait list for many months, maybe before the child is even born, in order to find childcare that is adequate to serve their family's needs. One parent may even have to quit their job and stop working for a time being. In the coming days, we will be completing our overhaul of our child care rules and regulations. We've been working closely with child care providers to rewrite those rules in a way that makes sense, while prioritizing and keeping our kids safe. We're also going to be releasing nearly $40 million in federal grants for child care providers. We had several meetings with providers so that those grants would target exactly what they needed, from new technology to startup funds to quality initiatives. We also heard, though, about these child care providers and the challenges they face with workforce. We're going to help tackle this by making it more attractive to work in the child care field. Currently, child care providers struggle to give benefits to their employees. So, we will be partnering with the South Dakota Farm Bureau to fix that. Today, we have with us some of the leadership team from Farm Bureau who's helping us make these health benefits possible. Would you all please stand and be recognized as well for opening up this opportunity for so many families? Thank you. Through all of these efforts, we are making it clear that South Dakota prioritizes stronger families and giving families more options at home. Now, we live in the strongest and the greatest nation in the history of the world. With that greatness comes unique challenges, but we aren't afraid of challenges. As President Harry S. Truman famously said, America was not built on fear. America was built on courage, on imagination, and an unbeatable determination to do the job at hand. Perhaps the greatest external challenge facing the United States is the Chinese Communist Party. They are using a popular app called TikTok to gather data on the American people and our people right here in South Dakota. It's possible they are using this app to gather users' keystrokes, which means that the Chinese Communist Party could have access to the financial information of tens of millions of Americans. It's an unacceptable security threat coming from a nation that hates America. Now, a little over a month ago, I signed an executive order banning TikTok for state government. And in doing so, South Dakota began an important movement. More than 20 different states have since taken action. Congress recently passed legislation to reflect this policy for the federal government as well. They all followed our lead, and that's the power of the example that South Dakota is setting for the nation. That's the responsibility that we all need to take seriously. People are watching what we do. Now, our effort to combat Communist China shouldn't stop there. We're looking for ways to ensure that taxpayer dollars aren't benefiting Chinese companies or the Chinese Communist Party. And I'm working with Senator Tobin and Representative Kamak on legislation to block purchases of South Dakota ag land from nations that hate us. This legislation is going to create a board called the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, South Dakota, or CFIUS-SD. This new board will include ag experts, national and state security experts, and legal counsel. It will review any purchase, lease, or transfer of South Dakota agriculture land by a foreign person, company, or entity, and make its recommendation to the governor whether the purchase should be approved. That's the kind of decisive action that we need. We all know what happened to our neighbors to the north, where a Chinese affiliate purchased land near a critical infrastructure to our national security. We cannot allow that to happen here. We can't allow Chinese interests to purchase any South Dakota ag land, much less any land near any military base or critical state infrastructure. South Dakota is going to set the example here too as well. Now, other states are already examining our legislation with plans to replicate it. I look forward to working with all of you and us getting it done to protect South Dakota and to protect the United States of America. We are committed to securing our state. We're committed to honoring the men and women in uniform who make that possible. South Dakota respects our law enforcement. We've proven that in our actions and also in our words. We recruited out-of-state law enforcement officers to move to a state where they would be respected. It isn't just our law enforcement officers who go above and beyond the call of duty. I hear story after story of incredible South Dakotans who step up every single day. Stories like the staff at the Avera Adventera nursing home in Salem, who brought residents into an inner room at the nurses' station when the derecho hit their facility this spring. Those individuals had to physically hold the doors shut in their bare hands to keep them from being ripped off their hinges. And when the storm abated, everything on the other side of those doors were gone. These nursing home employees may have felt like they were just doing their job, but they saved so many lives that day. The staff of that nursing home is here with us all today. Would you all please stand and remain standing for just a minute? Stand up. We'll give you a round of applause, but don't sit down. I want them to stay standing for a little bit. When I was there right after the storm, I was shocked by what I saw. I had never seen a situation where people literally had to stand there and hold a flimsy door shut to protect people in the middle of the derecho tornado situation, and they did it to protect their residents and literally risked their lives to do it. It's incredible the devastation that happened and what they did that day. It's a testimony to the people of South Dakota. And I've got one more individual that I'd like to talk about today as well. Mark Cook works in construction. He has a wife and 5 kids. And one day he was driving through a torrential downpour when he saw a car that was flipped on its side in the median. He pulled over, he climbed into the flipped vehicle. He found a woman who was in shock from that crash. The car was filling up with water, and the woman was hanging from her seatbelt. Mark cut her loose. He held her out of the water, calmed her down, and held the car door open above his head until emergency responders could arrive. Now, Mark is a hero. He was a hero that day, but he's also a hero in uniform. Mark is a staff sergeant in the South Dakota Air Guard, and he was driving on his way to drill when he stopped and helped that woman, potentially saving her life. His job in the Guard is to keep our nation safe and to protect our freedoms. But he could have just kept driving that day. He didn't. He pulled over, he stepped up, and Staff Sergeant Cook and his family are here today. Would you please stand as well to be recognized and be thanked for your heroism? stay standing. Today, I want to honor both the staff at Avera, Aventera, and Salem, and Staff Sergeant Mark Cook with the Governor's Award for Heroism. Thank you so much for being incredible witnesses to the extent to which South Dakotans will go above and beyond to protect and to serve each other. Thank you and congratulations on this award, and thank you for all that you do for your communities. Our state is safer because of men and women who answer the call of duty without being asked. I'm proud to be a South Dakotan because of people like all of you. Thank you for setting the example. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's the state of our state. For 4 years now, we have made South Dakota the state where anyone can come here and build their American dream. We've strengthened families, we've secured this state, and we have built here in the last 4 years exactly what our founding fathers envisioned when they created our nation. And the founders of our state who enshrined the phrase, "Under God, the people rule." We are just getting started. In 1790, less than 1 year after taking office as the President of the United States, George Washington delivered his first State of the Union address. Now, some people think it was the best State of the Union ever delivered. It was also the shortest, so that might have been a reason why. But President Washington delivered an important point that I think we should all remember today. The welfare of our country is the great object to which our cares and efforts ought to be directed. I shall derive great satisfaction from a cooperation with you in the pleasing, though arduous task of ensuring to our fellow citizens the blessings for which they have the right to expect from a free, efficient, and equal government. That is still our task today, to ensure a free, an efficient, and an equal government for the people of South Dakota. I look forward to working with all of you to get that done, and may God bless you, and may God continue to bless the great state of South Dakota.
Governor Kristi Noem giving her 5th State of the State address since she was inaugurated for the first time back in 2019. She was elected for the first time in 2018. She was just inaugurated to her 2nd term on Saturday, and this is the first of her 2nd term. And a lot of broad strokes today, some policy, bringing up the security with China, Communist China, and TikTok, also talking about incentives for adoption and other secure measures economically and otherwise. We will have a complete report for you tonight on News Center 1 at 5:30 and 6 on the governor's speech. For now, I'm Eric Green, and we'll take you back to regular programming.
This has been a News Center 1 special report.